Going. Hey, Future Bestsellers. I'm pretty sure I just started with, is it going? Howdy, sometimes that little magical button takes a little longer than you expect. Sometimes it goes really fast. So, hey, how is everybody? Happy Wednesday to you all. I am super excited. All right, can I just say this? Horror geek, I know where you live.
Hold out, my God.
Don't give me a hard time here. We were having a great discussion and we just lost track of time. You guys know how that goes. So as always, I'm with here with my lovely, charming, extraordinarily talented publishing friends, Michelle Schusterman and story detective Robert Jones. Hello, everybody. Michelle, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
All right, my name is Michelle Schusterman. I write young adult and middle grade novels, and my on hiatus channel is writing workshops, writing vlogs, and traditional publishing chat.
Yeah. Can I say something? So I recorded like a batch of videos yesterday. I did 3 in a row. And it's different. Like you really get into a rhythm when you're doing them every week, but when you batch them, and I had batched some like a couple of months ago. And so it had been, and then off after being off for like a year, like at a certain point you forget this, like you forget how to say the things that you have said a million times. Like I would say, if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is the channel for you. And I stumbled over that like 5 times yesterday. Like I never said it before, and it was in French. So story detective, welcome as always. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Well, my awesomely on hiatus channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and put it under my Sherlockian lens and break down the craft for the viewer. There's a lot of interesting things there as I'm reviewing my channel to potentially do a little overview of what I did wrong and what I did right. And I did a lot of things that I think were ahead of my time. I just did not have an audience.
Isn't that the truth? It's always interesting to like go back and look at the videos that have done really well versus the ones you thought were going to do great that 9 people watched back in the early days. And I feel that. Well, and also like, if you're gone for a while, which I hadn't, we do the live streams every week, but I hadn't posted any new like produced videos for, I don't know, like a year or longer, who knows. And so then the other thing is, you're used to having sort of a certain number of viewers like automatically on day 1. And if you take a bit of a hiatus, it takes a little while for those folks to come back. So you're like, okay, 3 people have watched your video in the first hour. And you're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, my number one request was to do more stuff from the comic book industry. So I tried to compare like what comic artists do and how they have parallels to, novel writing and what we might know that could give you a broader view on certain aspects. Those videos got almost no views.
I do find, and I will get, the Horror Geek has a channel that's knocking on 100K's door, right? And one of the things that he has found is that the movies that people request over and over and over again, they don't do as well as like the ones that keep planned. It's just it's so interesting.
It is.
Yeah. I don't, if I can help one person or 5 people with that video, and answer some question that they can't find anywhere else, I'm okay to do that. I'm okay to do that. So let's say hi to all of our friends in the chat, and then we'll go right into our 5-minute warm-up. Mary is here first today. Hello, Mary. Super glad to see you, everybody. Horror Geek giving me a hard time first thing in the morning. You know how he is. All right. Daisy's here. Hello. We are super glad to see you guys here today. Kara's here, working on creating media kits and setting up book tours for the Dragon Soul Press charity anthologies. Love that. That is fantastic. Love, love, love that. Lainey says, I love hearing about these responses to reader viewer demands. I am typically very I feel very honored when people request specific things because there are a lot of people giving advice on YouTube. And so I'm always honored by that, but it is funny. I'm not as analytical as far as like the horror geek is always in his numbers. Like he is always in the back end of YouTube. And so I say, oh, that one didn't get as many views, but but if somebody asked me a question in the same vein, like a week later, I would totally answer it again because I'm not, I just want to help. So anyway.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, I'm just going to do it for myself. I was enjoying it until I got monetized and started looking at the numbers. I think that's helpful if you're getting enough views where you're going to make money from your monetization. If not, then YouTube just has you jump through all these hoops and you become miserable. So I'm not doing any of that.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I'm sorry. Lainey Davis with the joke of the day. Speaking of back end, how is his performance? So first, I have to say this. Because I think that was the transition of the day. That was awesome. Thank you very much. So performance was his best case scenario. They don't think it's that, but they're still trying to figure things out. They did give him a big old shot of cortisone, which has given him some relief, but it's not. He's feeling a little better. It looks not as excruciating as it was before, but it's still bad. Thank you for checking up on him. I know
Your mic is kind of blurring out a little bit, Lisa.
Oh, blah blah. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah.
Was just me getting too far away from the mic. All right. Mary says, I have a friend who wanted to write a book called The Customer is Always Wrong because there's some truth.
Yeah.
There is a lot of truth to that.
That's true. That's true. I know. I'm thinking about. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's amazing what people try to get away with under the customers always, like just straight up abusing service workers and like expecting them to take it with a smile. Honestly,
it's true. It's true. I think too the reverse of that, where you have like terrible customer service and they just don't care. Like they just don't. They're just like we're too hard to replace or whatever it is. And I had like the worst experience with a rental car a couple of months ago, and the guy was like, I mean, he was so awful. And I said, look, you got to resolve this. Like, this is the one. I have a reservation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, you have to, like, we at least have to come to some resolution. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. Nope. And I said, can I talk to your boss? Can I talk to your DM? And he's like, no, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself. So I researched it. I find the woman's name, his boss, which took me like hours, but it was pretty like he was really kind of awful. And I reached out to her and she never responded. And I was like, well, this is why he does this, because he knows there's no repercussions. I don't so I'm not going to rent there again. That's my lesson from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hello. Why do I always enter during the Heine story? That's because over here on our channels, we're going all Heine all the time. So yeah, it probably was. I don't remember that one, but yeah, it was just terrible. Like it was just, anyway, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go down the rental car rabbit hole. Let's do a 5-minute sprint. Ooh, Avi is today working on the second half of short story number 9 for Michelle. Substack has the adjustment to publishing bi-monthly worked better, Michelle.
So much better. I was trying to do that critique thing every Friday on my Substack and also sometimes write like the regular free Substack posts, and that was way too much newslettering for me. So I switched to every other week and it has been hugely helpful.
That's good. That's very good. I know. I think that's a really important lesson that a lot of times we feel like we have to do
everything,
all the things, right? And like, oh, you got to put up 2 YouTube videos a week and you got to send your newsletter out every week and you got to do this and you got to do that. And a lot of times you're just a human being and this is not possible without burnout, or you can do all that other stuff and never have any time to write. This is my thing. I always have to like, it's kind of the monster in my closet I always have to watch out for is that my that I will be like, well, I really got to get this newsletter out today, or well, I really got to do this, when I should really actually be writing books. So yeah. Let us know what you guys are working on in the chat today if you have not already shared. When we come back, we'll talk about what we're all working on today. Let's get our little timer up. All right, we're going to start with 5 minutes. This is a great opportunity to just get your little drink, get your document open, or make your plans, whatever you're going to do today. And let's get started. Here we go. We're starting in 3, 2, 1. All right, we are back. So, what is everybody working on today? Robert, I'm going to start with you. Everybody in the chat, let us know what you guys are working on if you haven't shared already. So, what are you working on today, Robert?
I am editing the next chapter of my novel, proceeding onward with my third and final draft before beta readers.
All right, that's awesome. Congratulations. How about you, Michelle? What are you working on today?
I am working on my mystery novel today.
Nice.
I actually got to have. I met my agent last week in person for the first time, even though
Really?
yeah, and we had a really long talk about it, and it got me very hyped up to start working on this again. So,
yay! I love a good agent meeting.
Yeah.
I think like I know this is dorky, but I feel like especially when I was first starting out, that like meeting my agent for drinks when I was in New York City, I always felt like so authory.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
right? I live in Florida. I hardly ever see my agent. I mean, I don't think I've seen Stephanie for it's been a while now. But I used to go to New York a lot more regularly before the pandemic. And so, like once or twice a year, I would go out there and we'd always try and meet for drinks at this little cute bar right by her office. And yeah, I never felt more authory than when I was.
Totally. We
Right?
met at a place called the Oscar Wilde.
My God.
It was about as literary writer as you can get.
I love that. I know. You know what's so funny is yeah, I love that. We would always meet at this little bar that was literally downstairs and across the street from their agency. But one time we met at the King Cole Bar in New York, which is it's beautiful. It's got this painting, and it's kind of a famous bar, and it's not as good as the Oscar Wilde though, right?
It's some, and man, the interior of that place is wild indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very true. Oh, Mary's got a really good question. I have a random goofy question. I've seen people say fiction novel, but isn't that redundant? Yes, it is redundant.
That is incorrect.
Yes, novels are always fiction.
You have a nonfiction book,
right?
A fiction book, or
novel. Or a novel, right? But
not or a literary novel. Which, when I hear people say fiction, I think they're talking about what they sometimes refer to as straight fiction, which is literary fiction.
Right. Well, I mean, I see like the difference between like literary fiction and commercial fiction, or you know what I mean, something like that. But or sometimes they'll call commercial fiction genre fiction, which of course literary itself is a genre. All fiction, I think, falls into some genre, even if it's just random crap we don't know what to say about. Anyway, hello, Raven. Very nice to see you today. Very, very glad that you are here. Free range female. Love that title. That's fantastic. What a great handle. I don't think I've done sprints before. Happy to join. Yay. We are happy to have you here. After we finish our little chit chat, we're going to start doing a 20-minute writing sprint where we talk about where we work for 20 minutes straight, fast as you can. Then we'll come back and chit chat some more. Non-genre. I need some more of I need the random crap genre. I'm sure there's another name. Oh, you know what they're calling those? Mashups.
Yeah. It's kind of all random crap. So, we sort of define it or are forced to define it.
Isn't that the truth? It's all just random crap. I think that's a message. Speaking of random crap, something fascinating just happened to me. I just received 10 pages worth of dentistry codes and cost sharing and deductibles and all kinds of stuff from someone's insurance. However, it is not mine, and it is not the Horror Geeks. So we're not sure who's printing to our printer.
That is very.
I know, right? It's kind of funny. Yeah. So anyway, because I'm like, well, the Horror. So sometimes when spring springs, which it has done this week in Florida, after our weird couple of months of unseasonably cold weather, he was like saying like, oh, my teeth are kind of hurting, because sometimes if you're stuffed up, that helps. So, but I was like, 10 pages of dental information, that doesn't sound like him. And so it wasn't. Raven says, where are people commenting? I don't see them on the live chat. Is my computer acting weird? You might be someplace where you're not seeing comments. You can go to author.coach, which is my channel, and then just click on the live and you should see all the comments. If you wait till the next sprint, I will get the actual link for you of the thing, of the live stream. But that's where, and feel free to comment. We'd love to have you. All right, fantastic. Oh Lord, they're billing you for someone else's sweat. Oh no. Someone just printed out like 10 pages of what kind of dental. It's basically like, it looks like it's from like a big insurance booklet. So they just print out the dentistry section. So I know that if they're in network and they need an occlusal guard, hard appliance, full arch, it's $350. That kind of thing. I don't know what that is, by the way. BT dubs. Mary says, I saw Cozy Mysteries filed under romance at Barnes & Noble the other day. That is weird. That is weird. Typically, those are with the regular mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah. And if anybody would know how.
Romance now, that romantasy is a thing, and now we're trying to make mystery a thing.
You know what? Romantic suspense or mystery with a romance element has, that's been around for a while, but I do know that we like to combine romance with everything because kissing is awesome. But yeah, I get that. Yes. Oh, that could be the start of a horror. I talked to the horror geek. I don't think he doesn't want
He didn't want to do it.
My chocolate and his peanut butter. Yeah. I don't know if I would. I think if I wanted to write a horror romance, I would want to write. Did you guys ever see that? I think it was called Warm Bodies or Warm Hearts. It was basically about a zombie who falls in love with a regular girl and their love kind of humanizes him. It has Nicholas. I'm going to find it.
I remember seeing it at some point, but I can't recall the name.
It was delightful. I want to find all this information out during the next sprint, and I will post it. Okay, good. Raven's got it. All right, fantastic. Oh, Mary, you are so exactly right. Author.coach. Go there, then you will see the live stream. I'm like, yes, I'll just drop this in the comments you can't see. There you go. Daisy says, I have been trying to make Rom-Sci happen. I think that's great. I think science fiction has always had not everyone, but there's always been a number of romantic elements in those types of stories.
Remember, Alexa Dunn, who had a really big YouTube channel. Her debut novel was literally pitched as Jane Eyre in space. It was definitely sci-fi romance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. You can. I'm positive that there is a market for that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started on our first 20-minute sprint. I am ready to do some writing today.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, here we go. All right, we're going to do a 20-minute sprint for our newbies here today. That means you write as fast as you can in 20 minutes. And then when we're done, the timer will go off and we will be back to chit chat for a few minutes. We're counting on you. It's going to be awesome. All right, everybody, here we go. We're going to start our very first sprint of the day in 3. All right. Very nice. How did everybody do on that last sprint?
Okay. Not
Oh,
great.
good?
Yes.
Yay. All right. Sorry about that. I couldn't hear for a second. I don't know if it was like a StreamYard thing or something else thing. So let me get rid of this banner that's cruising across the bottom here. All right. So let us know, you guys, how you did on that last sprint. Raven says, "Oh my." Very nice. Okay, wait, hold on. Avi says, "I think what you meant to say was randomly printing my peanut butter and his chocolate." You guys are hilarious. Love that. Love that. So we had some questions. It's okay. We together. So we had a couple of questions that were sent in. So let's go ahead and get to those if I can track them down. The first one is 90K, 90,000 words too short for a fantasy novel?
That is like the exact opposite of the usual question you hear about fantasy novels.
I
Is
know.
350,000 words too long?
Is that okay? Yeah. Yeah. So not only I think is 90,000 okay. So like 100,000 is sort of like the state, like that's sort of typical of what you'd expect. 300,000 is a brick. That should be a series of 3 books. That's a lot, right? 90,000 words is a little bit shorter than you typically expect, but it's not so dramatically shorter that it would like it's not a 40,000 word fantasy novel.
I think right now I would argue it's an advantage for you.
Agreed.
From like an agent and editor perspective, because it means it's not overwritten.
Yeah.
And also with the printing being as expensive as it is right now.
Shorter books are cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is some absolute truth to that. I completely. And plus, the other thing is, readers have shorter attention spans than they did before. So I don't think 90,000 is a problem at all. And in fact, I would rather have you submit a 90,000 word novel than try and fluff it up by 10,000 words. Now, if you're submitting it to agents or publishers, etc., and you keep getting feedback that it doesn't feel like it's been developed enough, well, then that's, that's a time where you might consider,
right.
Expanding it some.
I was just going to say, it depends whether you're going a traditional route or self-publishing too.
Right. Well, here's the thing though. Self-publishers are also impacted by those printing costs. So your cost for, for paper books goes up, you make less money. So yeah, that's definitely a factor. All right. I hope that helps. Here's our other question that we got for this segment. Oops. Hold on. Oh, this is crazy. I did not take one down. So we ended up with 2. Hold on. I made it a ticker. We don't want that. No scrolling. All right. Here we go. I've been rejected by pretty much every publisher in the US, but when I mentioned putting my books up on Amazon, a bunch of my Facebook writing groups advised against it. What's the big deal? Who wants to jump in on this one?
I feel like we just need a lot more context.
Yeah. So
it'd be a big deal. I mean,
it could depend on your friends, because, there are a lot of, in every group, whether it's publishing or any of the arts, there's the intellectual snobbery, and they're going to hate self-publishing as a rule. So it depends on who you're talking to.
It does. Right. So if you were in the 20 books to 50K group, then they're probably going to have a much different opinion than, than another group might. So I was trying to I thought this was interesting. It was an interesting question. There are lots of reasons for people to despise Amazon, right? They're gigantic. They put a lot of other companies out of business. They have giant trash heaps of garbage that come in every day, and they just dump them out into places in the world that, have to accept them, basically. So they treat their employees poorly. I mean, there are like a million reasons to not like Amazon. However, if you sell books, that's like 65-70% of the market, and you're going to have to sell there. Well, you don't have to sell there. You can make the conscious choice not to sell there, but most people sell there. And I think the question was more about, like, you're destroying your career if you self-publish when your real goal is to be traditionally published. And there is nothing that could be farther from the truth with that. A lot of times, traditional publishers now are sort of calling the bestseller lists at Amazon because there are a lot of indie publishers that are selling better than they are. And
it gives them an advanced look at what's, happening.
Of what's going to sell. That's exactly right. And they always figure like, oh, if you can sell 5,000 books on your own, or if you can sell 10,000 books on your own, or 3,000 books on your own, then we, with all of our vast publishing knowledge and resources, can certainly sell a lot more books. So I don't, there's certainly arguments for and against putting all of your eggs in one basket, as in going into Amazon Kindle Unlimited. You can certainly, just if you're independently published, you can certainly distribute as many places as a traditional publisher can. You can work with Ingram Spark as any indie publisher can and get your books into Barnes and Noble and the library and a million other places. So it's really up to you and your own, like, are you okay to work with Amazon? If you want to be an author, that's something that you're going to have to come to terms with.
And there's a million reasons to hate every big company. So if you think you're going to go to another company of substance and you're going to get prestige over Amazon, that's also kind of a falsehood unless you're one of the chosen few.
And you might be.
You could be.
Even if there's a million, even if your chances are 1 in a million, somebody's got to be the one, and it might as well be you. That is my favorite thing to say about publishing. Yeah, somebody's going to be the one. It might as well be you. But yes, it's going to be more challenging to completely omit Amazon from your distribution plan. People can do it. They have. And certainly if that feels like something that is really important to you, then absolutely you should stick to your principles. But it is going to be more challenging to sell books on Amazon.
Yeah, more of like what you want. Yes, I wouldn't say what I'm saying to discourage anybody, because your book might take off. You
right.
Never know what's going to happen.
You don't.
But at the same time, know what you want and go with that. Follow your gut, because again, like we talked about customers being wrong, your friends, are they having great success other places that they can guide you and recommend these things? Or are they just saying, no, don't do that because, we hate this.
Right. Yeah.
Still in reason here.
Right. Exactly. I got the sense that it was more like authors try, because the question starts out with, I've been rejected by every publisher. I feel like they mean like, well, as like a last ditch, I'm going to publish this myself. And people are saying, no, move on to the next book. And everybody has to make that choice for themselves. But I will say that the most successful authors that I know, almost without fail, are independently published authors or hybrid authors, where they're part indie published, part trad published. So something to consider. Let's see, a break. So Free Range Female says, I keep hearing people talk about street teams. What does a street team do? Does anybody else want to take this?
You probably know this better than I do, but my perception of it is that before the release of a book, an author asks their followers / future readers to form a street team. It's kind of like, to me, it almost looks like when you get people to join your Kickstarter and there's tiers of it, and they do a certain amount of work to promote your book, but then they get
extra swag or yeah. So typically your street team is typically a group of people that you're exactly right. It's typically a group of people that you are going to organize before your book comes out, and they get advanced copies and they maybe get some extra swag. And in exchange for that, during the week of your release, on your launch day, etc., they'll post on their social media about it. And it's sort of a concentrated attempt to get a lot of people talking about your book during your launch, all at the same time, with the hopes that will sort of spread out. It's essentially PR. It's just instead of reaching out to Mashable or some other publication, you're just doing this on people's social media, which is not bad. Like, that's how a lot of people get information. Yeah. So the problem with street teams is that often, they're amateurs, of course, right? They're readers, and some of them are really good about it. They're going to post those graphics on social media that you ask them to post, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. But some of them just don't. They just don't do it. They get the book, they take the swag, and then they don't really, or they go, "Oh, is that this week? I totally forgot."
Yeah.
So, the thing about free labor is that you often get what you pay for. But that's it. Now, if you have like your mother and your aunt and your best friend, and they get some other people, you know what I mean? Like if you have some people who are connected to you, your friends, that feels to me like a better way to at least start a street team early on. I mean, I remember like for years, she probably still does it. When my first book came out and my second, anytime my mother was in a bookstore, which is a lot, she would make sure that she would turn all my books face out instead of on the spine. Which that's love, right? That is love and support. If your mother is out there turning your books face out every time she's in a Barnes and Noble, that's the genuine forever kind of love. And we're all
Very
searching
sweet.
for. Yeah. So So in a sense, that's like a street team. I know that her, like nice grandma friends were also doing the same thing. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. I guess it depends on whether or not you're a person that's great at getting other people hyped up. A lot of times people put a lot of work into it and then it ends up like being like, so it kind of depends on you. Oh, I'm not doing that. Friends, we stare each other's stuff. Yeah. So you're exactly right. So I think it's a much better plan if you do things like newsletter swaps with other authors who are in your same genre, meaning that when they have a big launch, you send out to your newsletter subscribers, "Hey, my friend Serena's got a big launch." And when you have a launch, they send out to their subscribers. So they're sending out to a lot of people who specifically read books in your genre. Now, I'm not going to, well, I might do it anyway. So when Robert comes out with his books, right? His craft book that goes with the novel, I would definitely send that out on my newsletter list, in particular to my like YouTube viewers who want to write books themselves. Even though he's not quite in my genre, I still have a good list of future bestsellers, right? So I would probably do that. And then like Michelle, I don't have a mystery list, but I do have mystery lists. So I don't write mystery, but I also have a ton of, because I was a publicist for a mystery publisher, I have a ton of connections in mystery world. So I would offer that. I could hand over a mailing list of a lot of bloggers, but I couldn't necessarily give you readers. So you want to make sure that you're sticking in your same genre. I feel like I went like
no, but that was all
no, I think it's a point, because another good point would be, how connected is your street team?
Right.
Back when I had my YouTube channel and I was getting all these messages from people like, "We can promote your work," and they were like reasonable fees, like $15-20. So I said, okay, let's give this person a shot. They shared it on their story once and had absolutely no connections, and it did nothing, so I gave them $15 to just share their stuff on my website on their story.
Those are I don't know if they find you on YouTube or on with your books. I'm not sure, but I get probably 5 of those email messages a day. Like, would you like to promote? It's whatever random title they happen to have come across. And I mean, I always ignore them. They're like, if you guys ever want to know, sort of, there are some good like email send outs, and I have a list of them, and if anyone would like them, I'll be happy to share. Dave Chesson, who you guys might know as Kindlepreneur, also has a great list on his website of different sites that you can use to to help get your book out in the world that are more general, or they'll have there are some romance only or mystery only, etc. So that's just something to consider, not control. Mary says, "I'm always facing front David Putnam books and rearranging shelves in Barnes and Noble to my liking." I'm sure they don't mind. Although I will say there's a picture that I have like from social media that's like floating around somewhere, and I think it might be in a video somewhere, where the Horror Geek and I had gone to Barnes and Noble for our weekly Saturday night date, and they had Single Minded, I think, on the like staff picks, which is right in the front of the store, facing front, and I was like, taking pictures, like, look what happened. Just great. That's like the other thing that makes you feel like a real author, right? When you see your book in the store and you didn't beg anyone to put it there, it's kind of awesome. So yeah, pretty cool.
I'm always looking for people in our group who have books with Ingram Spark or get traditionally published, and see if they show up in my Barnes and Noble. And the answer is almost always no. And I'm always like, boy, we have such a lousy selection here.
It's so hard. Several years ago, it's so hard to get books into Barnes and Noble anymore. And that's not just true if you're an indie author, but it's also true even for traditionally published authors. I had an author that I worked with who has won multiple awards. He has gotten fantastic coverage in the news media, and yet we cannot get him into a Barnes and Noble, and or at least not very many Barnes and Nobles in California. Like, it's a big fight every single time, even though he is beloved in the city where he lived and well known. And it's a couple of years ago, Barnes and Noble had this thing where they were like, oh, we're going to give our store managers or community managers more control and allow them to order in books from local artists or books that the local community, let's say everybody in San Diego is really on fire about some San Diego mystery series. And so they would have those decisions. But in all practicality, it ended up not working particularly well. It was still had to be approved through the main office and all that. Now, as I'm sure you guys know, the gentleman whose name I always forget, who got chapters in the UK out of bankruptcy and has it thriving again, is remaking Barnes and Nobles, which we talked about last week a little bit. And that is another one of the things that he has said that he wants to do. And I think since they are doing sort of a top-down remaking of Barnes and Noble, that we might actually see that. So it may, in the very near future, that was a very long segue, it may in the very near future be easier for you to get your indie published books or small publisher books into Barnes and Noble. So fingers crossed.
I'm hoping.
Me too. All right, here we go. Do we need to talk about cybersecurity? Did I miss something? I feel like I might have. Oh, I know why. Because of the dentistry. That was so weird. Oh, you're so welcome. Love. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. I think we've got it. I just want to make sure that we got through all the main comments. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and get us rolling for our next sprint of the day. Here we go. Let's see if we got this up. All right. Who's ready to write? We've got this. All right. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Make those words happen. All right, we are back. Very, very nice. How'd everybody do on that last chat?
Better.
Excellent. Let me just shut off our little thing. I've got like the ocean roaring in my ears, which I love, as you know. I almost forgot. There was something I actually wanted to show you guys this week. One of my, did we talk about this last week? One of my clients, Inez Johnson, is she is a fiction romance author. We worked together to write a nonfiction book called Page Turner Pacing, and she is having a killer of a Kickstarter. Did we talk about that?
No.
Let's do it. This can be a really, really, really great way to launch a book. Let's see. There we go. Can you guys see it? All right. So look at this. She has 652 backers for $45,000, which is absolutely insane. Yeah. And she's still got 6 days to go. And I think if anybody's been involved with a Kickstarter before, like a lot of the money comes on the very last day. So I am insanely proud of her. But aside from that, this book is like so good. So if you are writing romance, this is definitely something that you want to think about. She is a former TV screenwriter. And her whole thing is like how to use kind of the binge-worthy properties of episodic TV, like Bridgerton and all of that. So I just, I'm just so like incredibly proud. But also, I just wanted this to be like a little inspiration for you guys. There is more than one way to sell a book, and this is her first ever nonfiction book, and I think it's just absolutely incredible. And I just could not be more proud of her. So. Ta-da. Anyway, I thought that was really cool. I dream of a Kickstarter like that.
Yeah, since I'm going to be crowdfunding.
Oh, right.
Very carefully.
Yeah, definitely so. Here, I'll drop a link in the chat so you guys can take a peek at it later if you want to. Yeah, definitely look at how she put it together. I will say one of the things that I always tell my nonfiction book coaching clients is that you don't want to just do the book. You want a workbook, you want a course, you want like a whole thing. And one of the things that Inez did that's really fantastic there is that she's got all of those things. So I know the book is written and the workbook is written. And I know and the great thing about is like that structure of writing a nonfiction book allows you to create a course and all those other awesome things. And yeah, I'm just so excited for her. I just got it in my email like everybody else. And I was like, what? It is. I'm so proud. So anyway, I thought that was pretty awesome.
It makes sense to do that because you're putting your work in front of an entirely different audience aside from the community that's used to your stuff, and they're going to expand and hopefully leave reviews, and it's kickstarting a lot of things for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and then the other thing too is that, it takes some time to create a great class. And so one of the things that like a Kickstarter like this does for you is give you a little bit of space where you have some money coming in order to, sort of create those sort of ancillary options to go along with the book. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm super excited to see your Kickstarter when it happens. You should talk to Lainey. She's done a bunch of them and she's pretty good at it. So there are books you should read. The one in particular by Russell and Monica. I think it's just Russell wrote it. Anyway, I'll find it and drop it in the link if any of you guys are interested. But it works for fiction. It works for nonfiction. People have had a ton of luck doing Kickstarter campaigns. So it's something to consider. If you don't want to sell on Amazon, there you go. See? All right. We've got 30 minutes left. So let's go ahead and do another writing sprint if we are all ready to do that. I know I am.
I'm ready.
All right. All right. Fantastic. I don't know, was that enough of a break for you guys? I'm like so in the zone right now that I'm like, let's get back to writing. So it's up to you. If anybody has a question or anything, we'll answer it when we come back from the break. So here we go. Stretch those fingers. Do the chicken dance. I don't know if that works. It seems like it would though, right? Okay. Here we go, everybody. That's going to be a meme later. 3, 2, 1. one. Last sprint, make it count. All right, we are back. Oh, my microphone's like fell down like 19 feet. So, how did everybody do on the sprints today?
Good.
Yeah. Glad to hear it.
You
Me
did
too. How
very
about
good.
All right, fantastic. How about you guys in the chat? Let us know. I did drop that link. Oh, it's all smashed together. I did drop that link for Russell and Monica's book about how to put your book on Kickstarter. They have run just dozens, probably hundreds of campaigns by now. And I think they're kind of the go-to folks. But that's who Lainey used when she started, like that. This book is exactly what Lainey used when she started doing her Kickstarters, and she has had quite a few successful ones. So, yay! Awesome. Very nice.
Good.
Very nice. I was super productive today. Like that 2 hours just flew
Yeah.
by.
That did go by very fast.
Yeah, I'm very glad. Very nice. Oh, hi, look who's here today. Shannon, thanks so much. We sure appreciate it. Very glad to see you guys. So, did we talk about this for like at the beginning of January? We often will talk about kind of big goals for the year, but I feel like we did not talk about this year. Before we go today, does anybody have like a big goal for the year that you want to like put out there today?
Writing a draft of this damn mystery book. I keep saying I'm going to do. I think this was my 2020 goal too, but whatever.
No, it totally kept. Hey, you know what? That's okay. I had last year, like on my to-do list, making me feel terrible about myself all year was to open a little store, and I did it in January by the 30th of January. I know. So yeah, I know. I'm super, super proud.
I have a complete list of things to check off. I want to finish the draft of this book, get it to beta readers, start working on the next draft of the craft novel. I have a website for my editing, which is just about finished and will launch in April. I want to do a second website selling some of my artwork. So there's a whole ton of stuff that I'm building towards this year.
Yay. All right. Fantastic. What about you guys? In the chat, let us know if you have a big goal for this year that you want to share. Big goal. Big goal. Let's see. Free range formula. Finishing my debut novel. Yay! We are super excited about that. That is absolutely amazing. We're super proud of you. Good job. 700,000 words. Wow, I did 770K words last year, but doing a Kickstarter this year. Oh, good for you, Shannon. We should definitely pick up Russell and Monica's book. That is fantastic. 700,000 words in a year. Amazing. Raven says, random question. I heard of using some sites or apps like Wattpad and Dream as well as others. What do you think about sites like theirs? Oh, to sort of like build an audience and kind of get your work out there early? I think it probably depends on what you're working for. Certainly, there have been plenty of authors who started on apps like Wattpad and then made a transition once they built a little bit of an audience. It kind of depends on your goals. I have not ever done that, but I know a number of people who have. So I don't know. For me, I'm just like, Wattpad feels like an unnecessary step, but for a lot of people, that's kind of where they figure out how to write. And like I said, a lot of times you build up quite a following.
Yes.
And that is probably the biggest advantage. So
I think even if like you never build a following big enough to like get publishers' attention, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Just having people getting that immediate feedback of people, especially when they're encouraging and they love your story and they're leaving you positive stuff, that can be really motivating, and also it can help you learn a lot about yourself as a writer and like what your strengths are and you know what to lean into to know what readers want from you, if that makes sense.
That is true. That is true, because on apps like that, the readers definitely in many ways shape the stories. Plus, you will find something for everyone on Wattpad. My daughter took Latin, IB Latin, and there is a textbook that all of the IB Latin students use, and apparently like other high school Latin courses as well. And there is literally fan fiction about the characters, like smutty fan fiction about the characters from the Latin textbook, which I only know because my daughter told me about it and thought it was like the most hilarious thing. But there's an audience for that Latin textbook fan fiction romance. So if that can find an audience, so can whatever you're writing.
Yes,
that's all I have to say. There's a lid for every pot in romance, as in like falling in love, and there is a lid for every pot when it comes to readers and authors. There's always somebody out there who wants to read your weird shit. So, yes. And if it's not weird shit, there are more somebodies out there. But yeah, anyway. Okay. So, and I didn't mean your weird shit, particularly you, Raven. I just mean that no matter what you write, there is someone out there who will love it. Okay. Yay. Fantastic. Very nice. Yep, very good. Mama Maggie uses those sites to put out rough drafts of her books for those who might not have monetary means to buy her books. Publishes the polished versions on retailers. That is very kind. She is a lovely, lovely person. If there are movies about hot snowmen coming to life, there's an audience for everything. I think that Hot Frosty, not Hot Santa, Hot Frosty can be an inspiration to us all. Like the lids in my kitchen may be hard to find. Very nice. Morgan stopped by. Hello, Morgan. We are very, very glad to see you. This is a very nice surprise, just as we are saying our goodbyes. So thanks for coming. So we have had a very interesting stream today. We've covered Kickstarters and Wattpad and weird fiction that somebody will definitely love. You would think so, Raven, but Hot Frosty came to life as a super hunky guy on, I don't remember if it was like a Hallmark or Netflix, but we had an interesting discussion because there were more people in our chat who had watched Hot Frosty, myself included, than we would have expected. So there you go. Anyway, Raven, I hope you come back next week. We are here every single Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I should say every single. We're here most Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern until 1 p.m. So before we go, let's quickly say our goodbyes. I'm going to start with you, Robert. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before we go.
Okay, well, my awesome and underrated hiatus channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling, put them under my Sherlockian lens, and break down the craft for the viewers in hopes of making your craft journey easier. Check it out. All your views are appreciated. The channel is still getting reviews, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's you have so much great stuff in your backlist of videos. So yeah, even if you're not producing new videos, there's just so much great information there. Oh, thank you, Robert, as always. Michelle, thank you too for being here as always. I'm starting to look a little bit like a ghost, which happens about this time of day because the sun is like bouncing off the water, and I only closed one of my blinds because I like to look out the window when I write. But the consequence is, ooh, I'm a ghost. So there's that. Sorry for the sidebar, Michelle. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel before we go.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write young adult and middle grade novels, and my on hiatus channel is writing workshops, traditional publishing chat, and writing vlogs.
Thank you so much for being here. As always, I am Lisa Daly. I write contemporary romance and nonfiction advice. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you are super proud of and get it published. And so thank you guys all for being here today. Have a fantastic day. I just read this. Avi says, waiting for Robert to show up to Lisa's live stream as Sir Sherlock Fancy Pants.
Maybe we should have a themed event where we come as our like group alter egos.
I know, right?
Avi
All of the nicknames. You have to pick a nickname that Avi has given us over the years.
Yes.
But there are many, many, many to choose from. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Have an awesome day, and we will see you all
Take
next
care,
week.
everybody.
Bye.
Keep those keyboards clacking.
Mhm.